Hi, I'm Cheryl Jacobs as Princess Moana, and thank you for listening to our Kids Party Characters podcast. Please subscribe below. And today I'm going to teach you about helping children learn from their mistakes and failures. When I was a child, I was taught that hard work leads to your success. By the time I entered the world, this notion had been replaced by the concept that it wasn't working harder, but working smarter that would get you ahead in life. No, this does not mean with the higher IQ scores, you're going to have more successes than the rest of us. What it does mean is that those who are problem solvers, who utilize creativity, make the most of their resources, and learn from their failures will often find themselves in a better position to succeed. I'd like to focus on the last point as something as we should be teaching our kids on a regular basis. Learning from failures and mistakes. As a parent, one of the hardest things to do is to allow your child to go through the inevitably failures in life brings. We want to always be there to protect our kids from failure or making those same mistakes that we have so many years ago. We would much rather see them reap the rewards and riches of success without having to go through the pain of getting there. Having a fear of failure, of making mistakes, is something we all have dealt with. For some, it happens subconsciously, possibly dictate a minor decision or perhaps causing to take the path of the least resistance in an area of our lives. For others, however, it causes painstaking anxiety, preventing us from taking risks, trying new things, or even being just true to ourselves. Just as this fear lingers in all of us, it's also something that our children deal with as well. There will always be varying levels of this kind of fear, and everyone is different. However, regardless if your child is a natural risk taker, unafraid of failure, or you have witnessed firsthand the extreme disappointment after mistakes made, learning from failure is something that should be addressed by all parents with their children, not only to try and to shed some of the negativity that is associated with failure. As a Little League softball coach, I come in contact with kids in different backgrounds and skill levels. However, regardless of where they are at the baseball journey, I have noticed that similarity popping up over and over. They have been so trained to strive for perfection that more often than not, when one of them strikes out and they came back to the dugout with their head down, frustrated, and maybe even on the verge of tears because of their supposed failure. The thing about softball and baseball, as many other sports, even the best athletes, the ones playing at the professional level, fail more times than they succeed. Players are often considered great if they hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. They may even make the all-star team despite failing more than they succeed. Sports are filled with examples of how great success often comes side by side with failures and mistakes. Youth sports isn't the only arena where we often see a fear of failure. Having experience working in the classrooms with both middle school and high school level, I would come across very bright students who share the same fear of making mistakes. One of our first jobs out of college is teaching English as a second language abroad. In these classes, the students were of varying English-speaking abilities. However, some of the brightest students who had the most interest in learning English participated the least in class. We later found out that many of them shared a fear of mispronouncing words or getting an answer wrong, as this somehow would affect their English ability. As the English department, we made it a mission to make sure that our communication courses were filled with mistakes, and lots of them. If there were mistakes, it meant that the students were trying. They may have mispronounced words or jumbled up a sentence here or there, but these mistakes meant that they were putting themselves out there and in turn using those mistakes as an opportunity to improve their abilities. To be clear, the goal shouldn't be to brush aside feelings of anxiety over potential failures or disappointments from mistakes made, as these perfectly natural and even healthy responses. However, it's important to utilize times of failure to teach our kids how to work through anxiety and process disappointment, using it as a tool for growth. We should be teaching them that it's okay to fail, because no matter how hard we try to protect them in life, at some point failure will rear its ugly head. Fear of failure and mistakes is human nature, and as such, it's something we must consciously push back against when we see it in our kids. We should be teaching them how mistakes aren't something that they shouldn't be avoided. They should be learned from. The sooner we get rid of the cloud of negativity that's hanging over the idea of making it, the sooner the kids will be able to take healthy risks, challenge themselves, and free up their creativity. We should be sharing stories of role models and icons as J.K. Rowling, Michael Jordan, or Walt Disney, to name a few, whose successes derived from failures. People who weren't afraid to take risks and in turn made a difference in the world. Another thing we could do is let our kids be appropriate examples of mistakes we have overcome, maybe even a mistake or failure that we are going through in the present. I think that as parents, sometimes we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves to be perfect in the front of our children, to let them in on all the positive, but protect them from seeing all the negatives. We know our kids better than anyone, so we should have an idea when it might be appropriate time to share these mistakes with them. Maybe even share them with an example of something that didn't go right at work or how you made it through the other side. If our kids see us unafraid to fail, it may go a long way in their own resilience to adversity. Finally, our kids shouldn't be afraid that they have to go through any mistakes or failures by themselves. Having that open line of communication where our kids know that they can seek help in resolving problems or just asking questions in general without the fear of repercussions is extremely important. They should be encouraged to stretch their curiosity and limits and to take risks, even if it meant that they may fail. After all, we will be there to remind them that failure is nothing to fear and mistakes are not the end of the road. They are merely another stepping stone on their journey to success. When it comes to celebrating your child, we have you covered. We have close to 300 children's TV and film characters, vending machines, and bouncy houses. Our trained actors will play games, do face painting, balloon animals, magic shows, crafts for the kids, and so much more. So visit us at Kids Party Characters to see how we can make their special day, bringing children's imagination to life, at kidspartycharacters.com. Thank you again for listening to our Kids Party Characters podcast, and please subscribe below.